Hey Tilted Barners, welcome back. We've been pretty busy, and if you've been watching us on some of our other social media channels, you know we had some stuff going on here at the farm. I got hurt. I'll go over that a little bit later, show you what all happened, and I am okay, obviously. But for now, what we're going to be doing is, if you remember in an earlier video, we had a part of the hayfield that we couldn't get it seeded in because it was too wet. I don't know if it'll pick it up here or not, but yeah, it looks like it is. So that gray part there, and I got some manure over there too. So that was too wet, and it's dried up now. We're on the brink of a drought here. So since it's dry, I'm gonna go finish working it up. I worked it up once a couple weeks ago just because the weeds were getting just way tall. So I'm gonna go work it up again. Go over it a couple more times with the field cultivator, and then I got the Cultipacker here behind me, so as long as I'm going to be heading over there, I'll hook that up and swap it out with the field cultivator. That way it's already down there. So I've got a little bit of hay seed left over, so we're going to get that dirt turned, knock down the weeds a little more, work in the manure a little bit better, and from there get some seed in, and then I'll go over what happened this last weekend and why I ended up in the ER. Alright, well, the field cultivating is done, and you can see it worked up pretty good. So there's a little more moisture in this low spot than what I thought. The rest of the stuff out in the pastures is just rock hard. It just goes to show you how wet this really is. So hopefully I get this in today. There's enough moisture that the seeds will take, and then hopefully we get some rain, and you know, just to keep things going. Frankly, even if we got a little bit today and this got a little wet, I wouldn't be upset, because the rest of the field, the big picture, we need it. So the other part of this is, I know there's a lot of weeds there, but underneath those weeds, that bucket's full of rocks in just this little space behind me. So this new property has got tons and tons of rocks. And for those of you who watch, who knew how I grew up and picking rocks with my grandpa, you guys can appreciate, if you guys were ever out there, I know you're watching, you know what I'm talking about. And for those of you who weren't out there, if you've picked rocks, you know it's a level of suck that it's hard for anything else to compete with. So there's that. But so we're gonna get the Cultipacker out here, knock down these clumps, break them up a little bit, hook up the seed spreader, and get this seeded, and then we'll go over it once more with the Cultipacker. Had a close call here. Check this bad boy out. That would not have been good. Well, another change of plans. I got to thinking about it. For that small of an area, no point in hooking up the big spreader, and excuse me, burning $6 a gallon diesel fuel. So I got my little shoulder broadcast spreader, and I'm just gonna walk out here and spread it out that way, and then I'll go back over it again with the Cultipacker. Well, the seeding's done, so we'll get the Cultipacker back there and go over it one more time, and we should call it good. So I'll be happy to have this part of it done. This little section here has been bugging me, and I know it's probably going to be a little wet, but you know, it is what it is. So we'll get this done and we'll move on to the next task. Well, all right, now that we've got all the seeding done, I'll explain what happened to you people that caught us on Facebook and Instagram. So last Saturday, Mrs. Tilted Barn and I were working on, well, actually I'll head back where I just came from, and we were working on connecting fence and building fence back up. What I found was we were working on weaning, maybe not weaning, but I guess in a way, yeah, we were weaning some heifers, and we were putting them back here. So I built this alleyway. It's not the prettiest, but it's functional. And so we were putting the cattle back there, and then where these gates are now, there was high tensile just strung across, so we were kind of popping it off and popping it back on. Well, the voltage on the fence was only like 2,000 to 2,500 volts, and so when we were the calves that had to be weaned, when we put them over here, they were popping through the temporary fence. So every time I come out, I would see, you know, I'd have them back here, and then the next day they'd be back in with their cows or their moms. And so we were working on cleaning up the brush underneath the fence, because that's what the problem was, is the brush and the grass had just grown up so much that it was shorting the fence out. So we were working on that, and then there were a few spots where I needed to add a few extra posts because the fence was a little too low to the ground. So we had some rises, and because of those rises, they were between posts, and so the fence was grounding out there as well. So I was setting a post, and for those of you who have used a post pounder, the ones that you have the handles on the sides and you slam them up and down, you probably already know what happened, but for those of you who don't, I picked the post pounder up. I was getting real aggressive slamming it down, and I picked it up a little too high, and the bottom of the post pounder, here, I'll just show you here. This isn't the one where it happened, but basically what happened was I picked the post pounder up too high, and when I came to slam it down, it caught on the top instead of going down and slamming into the top of the post. So the bottom of it hit this, and when I did that, I was coming down full force, and it slammed down on top of my head. Opened my head up. I mean, it just opened it right up. About a 3-inch gash. 10 stitches. It split it in 3 different directions. It was pretty bad. Luckily, Mrs. Tilted Barn was down here. She was holding the cattle back while I was working on putting up the fence, and so she was able to come to my aid and able to get an old shirt so I could use it for to put pressure on it, control the bleeding. She ran back all the way, like this is as far back as almost as far back as what you can get. It's as far back as you can get with equipment. So she was able to run up, grab the car, come back, get me piled into the car, and in the meantime, I had passed out. Probably lost. I estimated probably about a pint of blood. It literally, there was a steady stream coming out. It wasn't a drip. It was pouring out. So she was able to get me up, get me loaded up, and get me out to the local emergency department, who did a wonderful job. So that's the story. So for those of you who are wondering what happened, I don't know if you can see, but it's still a little sensitive. They got to keep a hat on to keep the dust off of it. But so for those of you who are wondering what the story is, that was the story. So in the meantime, I'll let you guys go. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video, because I'm going to go over what we did to get back here and show you the cattle that we got back there. So exciting times. Thanks for watching, everybody. Oh, and for those of you wondering, we did get the voltage up on the fence. We're running between 9,000 and 9,500. So if you're wondering, we got it fixed.